Hi and happy Monday. We are out in the schoolhouse because today we're going to paint a metal birdcage. It's right here behind me. Now, this birdcage is a Hendrix cage on stand, and I think I paid about $20 to $25 for it. And that's important because I'm sure you're wondering why we're painting bird cages. If you go on eBay right now and put in Hendrix, Hendryx, birdcage stand, and look at the sold prices, you're going to find that these things go for upwards of $150. Sometimes much, much more. I've seen them sell for $500 or $600 if they are particularly interesting cages. That's because Hendrix is sort of the Cadillac of vintage bird cages. This one is not exceptionally interesting. It's not exceptionally dull either. It's in good condition. The bars are straight. It has a nice little bend in the bar right here. And there's a little bit of interest on the base of the stand at the bottom. In terms of interesting bird cages, I'd say it's probably maybe a 4 out of 10. It's not as dull as dirt, but my goodness, I've seen some really exciting ones. This cage, however, when I got it, was painted white, and it had been newly painted, so it was clearly painted for the sale. But white is a color of days gone by. White bird cages were popular years ago. Today, tastes have changed. And we're going to redo this cage, sort of in an antique bronze, sort of somewhere in there, because it's not going to be an actual faux finish. This is just something I'm making up as I go along. And to start with, I painted the whole thing with this. This is a Rust-Oleum. It's satin dark brown because I needed to get rid of that white, and I wanted a color that would be sympathetic to our bronze finish so that we didn't have to do too much work to sort of get a metallic look to it. And that's all we're doing now. So when we get back, we will talk a little more about this, and then we're going to get to painting. So I will see you in a minute. Well, we're back. So how about we take a quick look at a before picture when this was white. As you can see, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just, it was white. The paint was starting to come off. It just didn't have any real buyer appeal. Now, if we are hoping to sell this in the $200+ range, which in fact I am, I need to do a little more than just grab it for 20 bucks and throw it on eBay. It's going to need to be brought up to snuff a little. So we're working with spray paints. And this is an antique brass. This is a nice shiny gold. And this is a sort of rose gold coppery. I may or may not use this, I'm not sure. All I'm really trying to do, as I said, I'm not going for a faux finish. I'm trying to give it a nice metallic look, make it more attractive to a potential buyer than it was with that white mess, and just update it a little. Now, because we are using spray paints, we're going to have to get into some caveats about this. That's the reason we're out in the schoolhouse. We need very good ventilation. We need some space to work in, and we need to be fairly certain that our overspray isn't going to damage anything, because there will be overspray, and in general, it's really best not to get it on your sofa. So that's why we are out here. Now, one more thing I want you to see here, Bill. This is a bottle of acetone nail polish remover. It's almost empty because I use these things all the time. This is one of the best hand cleaners you can have if you're working with paint, because it's perfectly safe. It's intended to take nail polish off your fingers, so you can use it all over your hands. The acetone will pretty much cut through everything. And I got this, as you can see from the label, that DG stands for Dollar General. I got it at the dollar store. So it's dirt cheap. If you're going to be working with paint at all, that's another thing you need to keep in mind. Get yourself some acetone nail polish remover. It'll make easy work out of your cleanup. Now, one other thing that's extremely important is the ventilation issue that I briefly mentioned. You can get high as a kite sniffing the fumes from this stuff. And people actually intentionally do this. And by the way, little ones, if anybody ever comes up to you with a can of paint and says, "Let us huff together," you need to look at them for the lunatic they are and say, "Good Lord, get away from me." I read recently a little tiny bit of utterly useless trivia. They actually did a study. I mean, right, who funds a study like this? It was the National Institute of Health did a study that determined there's a different high associated with sniffing different colors of paint. I'm having trouble doing this with a straight face. And consequently, paint huffers have their favorite colors. Yeah, your tax dollars at work. Okay, we're going to start with this. This is our antique brass, and this should lighten it up and give us a little more of a metallic look. And remember, we've started with a nice satin dark brown. Okay. All right, first thing, we shake the daylights out of this. Second tip, when using spray paint, don't hold it in front of your project and spray. Start off to the side and work your way over, because that first blast can send out a lot more paint than you bargained for, and it can get very, very drippy and gloopy. And we want to go very lightly. Oh, that's another thing. Spray paint, very light. Many light coats are always going to be effective, whereas like one or two heavy coats are going to be drippy. So, okay, we're starting to get some brass highlights on this, and I like that. Yeah. Okay. Now keep in mind, my goal in this is to get something that looks attractive. And since I'm the one doing it, it's me. It's just going to be my decision as to what looks attractive. And I'm starting to like this. By the way, those of you with sharp eyes are going to notice there are 3 more bird cages on stands in the background. Let's see if I can get my finger. There we go. Right over there. 3 more. Bird cages on stands, especially when they are the Hendrix cages, are always going to be a good investment if you can get them for less than, say, $50. My price limit on any of these is about $30. I just won't go above $30 on them. And for cages that, as I said, can sell for upwards of $150, it's a good investment. I think 2 of those 3 are Hendrix, and the third is actually older. So if I decide to throw that on the market, it would probably do quite well. And since you've all met the photobomb kitty, you know that there is no bird in my future. I'm very jealous of Jocelyn and her new little conure, Charlie, who is just a beautiful little bird, especially since I know only too well there is no bird for me. All right, I'm going to stop right here and camera, because I'm going to take a still shot of this while I'm filming it, and I'm going to pop that into the video for you so you can get a close-up look. All right. And by the way, I'm going to stop every now and then and do that just to make sure you have a good sense of what's happening here. Now, as you can see, now I'm working on the stand. As you can see, there's almost no effort to this at all. Get that door up so I can get the areas behind it. Now, as you can see, the advantage to painting this brown beforehand is that I don't have to worry about full coverage with this. Now, I don't want full coverage to begin with. I want that brown to show through, because this, let me see what I've got here. You know what? This is the bottom of the birdcage. As you can see, it's painted brown. See that? That's what it would look like if I just painted it with this antique brass. Yeah, it's okay, but it doesn't have anywhere near the depth of color I want. It looks like somebody simply grabbed a can of spray paint and spray painted it. Now, of course, that's exactly what we're doing, but I'd rather it didn't look that way. Now, one of the great things about these metallic paints, too, is they dry almost instantly. Now, for those of you who are wondering about the practicality of getting something like this, which is It's probably about 5.5 feet tall, and shipping it out. Right here, this is actually a nut, and we go down about 2 feet and there's another one. This stand will break down into a total of 4 pieces. 2 pieces for this 4-foot pole that's holding it up, the base, and the circular cage holder. When you break it down, it will lie flat. And all you need to do is get a box big enough to accommodate this. And my guess is this is probably about a 2-foot circle, and the depth of the cage, which is about 10 inches. So you need a box that's approximately 24 by 24 by 10. Relatively easy to come by. My goodness, I'm looking around. I am in the schoolhouse, and the schoolhouse is messy, and I am seeing easily 3 or 4 boxes just staring at me that are more than big enough. So that's something that shouldn't be a turn off when it comes to buying a piece like this. Now, I'm down here at the bottom, where unfortunately the camera can't get, but I will get a picture of this so you can see what that looks like. Let's stop. We're going to get a picture of that base. Okay. And now, this is the stage of the project where I'm just going over and seeing if I want to give it a little lick here or there. And this, which is our tray, slides into the bottom. All I need to do, here, this is the way it goes in. This is the front edge, and here's the little knob. The rest of this does not need to be done, just this little front edge. There. That's all. Now, I had gold. This gold is very bright, so I use it sparingly, but I like to be able to give the pieces a little bit of glitter, really. Just bling, bling. I like to bling up my bird cages. The reason I was doing it over here on the sides is that's where my little indentation is. The interest in this, those sides do not come straight down. So I'm just going to lick that a little with the gold, just to make sure everybody notices. Yeah, like that. All right. There. Now we got a little bit of a sheen on this, and we're going to do the same thing on the stand. Not all over, just enough to give it a little glitter. Okay, now that's going to dry up, and it's actually looking decent, much better than the white, but you'll see that with the photos. Now this is a Swingarm Curtain Rod, and a lot of you have actually seen the Crazy Lamp Lady videos, so you know whenever I find these, I grab them, because Swingarm Curtain Rods are actually very collectible. Keep it in front of a camera. They're very interesting. They have wonderful little detailing on the end. The way they work is you put a little holder on the window frame, drop this in, and then the rod swings out. Very useful for French doors, casement windows as well. So you have something like this, and it's got a nice little floral decoration, but it's extremely flat. So what do you do with this? Well, if it were me, oh, and of course, gee, sorry, it's mine. I guess it is me. What I'm going to do with this is I'm going to darken the finish up a little, probably with that same brown, do the same sort of antique brass treatment all over it, and then when I get up here, I'm going to hit this flower with a little bit of red and the leaf with a little bit of green. I'm not actually going to paint them through, just a hint of color. That is polychrome. So I intend to turn this into a polychrome Swingarm curtain rod. Very, very easy. So in addition to the Birdcage curtain rods, oh yeah, my favorite. I got a lamp once for $5 because somebody painted it orange. In a situation like that, unless you actually want to strip off the paint with a lot of caustic chemicals, and that is time, that is effort, that is mess. Your alternative is really only to repaint it. And if you're going to repaint it, the best choice is not to go over to a fabric color like orange. It's to go over to a metallic color like this, because the lamp would have originally been some sort of metallic color. It was metal. But even if I went through the bother of stripping that orange paint off, I have absolutely no idea what I would find underneath it. It could be it was just a hippie who said back in 1967, oh, wow, man, groovy, this would look so psychedelic if it were orange. But it could be someone who said, oh my goodness, this finish is shot. If I don't paint it, it's going to go into the trash. And orange was the only color they had on hand. And until you start stripping it off, you never know for sure. So my theory on that is err on the side of caution, not to mention laziness, and just grab yourself a couple of cans of spray paint. Easy. Really, what could be easier? So that is our project for today. Now, we have a winner to announce, because yesterday I said we were announcing the winner of that beautiful Royal Hager vase that was so generously donated by Kelly Williams. And our winner today is Alex Maga. And Alex is in fact a frequent commenter on our YouTube channel, so that's nice. But in fact, it was a completely random choice. And I think I kind of have to do that. I'm not sure. I'm sure there is a contest rule that says when I say random, it must be random. And I can't just go and say, oh, I like this one or I like that one. Otherwise, I would have let Jocelyn enter the drawing, which you know I can't do. So it just turned out by a very lucky chance that it was one of our frequent commenters. So congratulations, Alex. When you make your inevitable comment on this video, you be sure to give me your contact information so that Kelly can get that vase out to you. And thank you so much, Kelly. That just everybody adored your vase. I certainly hope, if nothing else came of this for you, that you got tremendous validation for your good taste. And one more, Renee Stanton, who was one of our pen winners, had sent in a picture. She wanted the pen for her sister, who has severe arthritis and a great deal of difficulty writing. So I got two pictures, and they left me in tears. They really did. Whoa. However, when I stopped crying, I realized, it's wonderful to feel like you can actually do some good in the world. So thank you to Lisa from Desert Dragon Works for the pens. And for the rest of you, just take a look at Renee's sister. Renee tells me that her sister can actually have an easier time writing with these pens. So bless her heart. I'm sure we all wish her the very, very best. And personally, any improvement I can make in this woman's quality of life makes me feel like I've earned the air I'm breathing today. So Renee, thank you for sharing the picture. And to your sister, very, very best. We're so glad we could help out. Okay, now, next week, we are going to follow up on our Etsy shop reviews. Remember, when Etsy changed their shipping policy, it caught us right in the middle of a review. So we had to postpone the review to talk about the shipping policy. Next week, we are going to talk about the Etsy shop review. We had 3 shops we were reviewing. So we're going to get the feedback on that. We're going to select 3 more shops, start the process again. And we are going to get a little more into selling for eBay or Etsy, because a lot of you have looked at the Etsy changes and said, I want to go somewhere else. Wherever you want to go, this is going to be useful information, because what we are going to do additionally, and this is our Saturday video, is going to be how to prep your finds for sale. You go to a thrift store, you find something. How do you make it saleable? You just paid $2 for it. You need somebody to pay you more. So how do you do that? And of course, we just saw with this Birdcage that, yeah, you can do it in a few minutes, very little upfront cost. My cost in this was the $25 for the Birdcage. The paint was $3 to $4 a can, and you saw how fast it went. All right, everybody, have a great week. I will see you all on Saturday.